Adriano. This year he has a goal poacher. We can't compare him to Iconic Moment or to PES, etc. Now I have trained him with several different ways. Like I try to train him like a fox in a box. Doesn't work. Obviously, he's a goal poacher. The run is different. In terms of, as I always say, you understand player ability combined with skill. It's like a universal knowledge. You'll be able to know how to train your players anyway. Video on YouTube. But in terms of skills, let's start with the skills. Acrobatic finishing, first time shot, outside curler. His weak foot, it's absolutely horrendous. Sombrero, heading, Marseille turn can become handy. In terms of, he does have most of the finishing skill. Let's get the skills out of the way. Top 5 skills, in my opinion, that Adriano needs. Aerial superiority, one-touch pass, long-range curler, super sub maybe, low stamina, fighting spirit, because low stamina, and goes the other ways. So these are my top 5 skills to give him, in my opinion. Now the problem with Adriano, dude, it is, dude, like he's a big clunky guy. He's 189 and 90 kilograms, right? It's impossible to make such a heavy guy agile. Like almost pointless to give him like more than 80 type position. You almost kind of wasting it in a way. But you want the all key abilities to be at least green minimum. And then you take it from there. So no matter how I trained him, kick and power, I thought without me doing a stunning kick, his kick and power by default being 90, it's going to be like Batistuta. You guys remember Batistuta like a couple of months ago? I would do a normal kick. So I thought it would be better, but it isn't. So for me, to make this simple, if you don't buy coins regularly, no, don't open this pack. If you need a super agile, fast, nimble center back, Cordoba could be useful, but he's an extra front man. He joins attack too much. So I would say keep your coin, just generally speaking. Unless he's like one of your favorite players, or, you know, for me it was more about nostalgia, really. So I am surprised how his kicking power doesn't replicate the ability in the game. Most of the time I'm doing a shot like just a couple of meters outside the box. I didn't think I would still need stunning kick to hit a powerful shot with him. But when you do volley shots, yeah, it's pretty powerful. Like we have so in terms of training, really, I think it was the most difficult player for me to train with him. But if you go by default, let's say we go make this tier green. I think those two has to be like that. This has to be like this. Finishing is the biggest problem for me. If I give him minimum, in my opinion, a player that is 90 plus rated, minimum finishing has to be 88. Minimum. Or lower, 84. That's the lowest I could go for a player who's 90 rated. But if the finishing is that low, then I want his dribbling to be like close to 90 or speed acceleration close to 90. So you can do any of those. The best way to put it, you got to use Adriano the same way if we were using Batistuta. Don't give him complicated balls. You know, it's more of a trap the ball and bam. I mean, that's how it works. Aerial balls, for instance. It's very difficult to try to do certain things that I thought I'd be able to do with Adriano. And that's why most people don't like big clunky strikers in the first place. And in terms of training, honestly, I've even tried him with 78 finishing. It was horrendous. At the moment, I'm using him with 84 finishing. It's still bad. Like the accuracy of his shots, I have to say he's the worst finisher I've used. I don't know. Those of you guys, like, in terms of being Adriano, being like, I understand 84 finishing is not that good, but trust me, Karl-Heinz, I gave him 82 finishing, and I played with him for 6 months. He was my top scorer. And Karl-Heinz kicking power isn't even that high. So for me, the accuracy of his finishing, most of the time, I don't trust him unless it's a tap-in or a volley shot. And I try to simplify it very well with him. So I think that is my general review with him. Unless you're for the nostalgia, you're a big fan, you want to use him. Is he a game changer? Is he a meta? Maybe personal preference being somebody's meta. But honestly, like this year, if you pay attention, people create their own meta. The only people who still play the classic narrow 3 striker defense or fullback is those meta players who've been playing like that for like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. If you check top 50 right now, you got 3 at the back, you got 4-4-2, you got just a natural wide wingers fullback overlapping. So it's good to see like a variation there. And it could be somebody's meta. I mean, how many of you guys dominating in Div 1 with minimum 80% win ratio after 50 games and Adriano's your main guy? Don't get me wrong. If Adriano's your main guy, I'm pretty sure you got Neymar, Messi, Mbappe, Romario, like players who would make Adriano look good in a way. So when it comes to the positive thing, honestly, I'm not disappointed because I before I even signed him, I look at his abilities, I knew what kind of striker he was going to be. Now, in terms of training, dude, I think this is the best you can go for. I like Leva, who's was rank 1 and pretty sure is a Asian game Olympic gold winner. He's the type of, in my opinion, there are two type of meta players, right? You got the static meta player, you got the fluid meta player. The static meta player likes to make things simple. Touch through ball, turn. You know, the most dribble they do most of the time is either probably double tud or trap the ball. Like, I'm talking about when you face a good player, that's where you need to look at the player. You face somebody you know you can beat, you go Joga Bonito, different. So the static type of player would usually just touch turn. They just turn players, they don't dribble. So for me, in terms of Levi, I watched a couple of games he played, he does involve a lot of dribbling. And dribbling, I don't mean like just kind of turning you back and shielding. And for him, I thought he would go with a higher dribbling. He didn't because it's difficult to make Adriano effective for the 94 rated guys. I mean, 97 in a way. So for me, he isn't that fast. He isn't the best dribbler. The minimum I can do personally, give him that 90 offense awareness and make his speed minimum 80. I've seen people giving him less speed, you know, even 76 and pump his dribbling, his finishing. So in terms of the training, we've got until 28th of September. I will update you guys on Twitter, on Facebook, on Discord. What's the final version that I'm going to be training him with? But I guarantee you, I think the two versions I posted on Twitter, so far they were the best one, including one of the top tier players on PC, Spooky, his version. So all these top 3 versions were slight 2-point differences between physicality, dribbling, acceleration. Some of them gave him like 89 instead of 90, saving 3 points here, and so on. So for me, if I keep it like this is the version currently I'm using. I prefer to make sure that his jump and heading is at least green tier. That way, for as I said, the guy is not too fast or super agile, doesn't have high finishing either. So for me, at the moment, I am testing this one out. Other versions will be something, let's see. If I give him, I can't give him, I don't want to drop his dribbling lower. I can make this like this and give him a little bit more finishing, maybe 85. But then again, other abilities will struggle. You do not want to give him low. I don't think offense awareness should be below 89. And you want to make sure acceleration on green tier. But also, I've seen a lot of people giving him no aerial strength whatsoever. I mean, the collision system in this game, like Pedri sometimes can take out Patrick Vieira. Beat him kind of in a physical tussle. But the game changes a lot. So if I permanently train him, I want to make sure he has that. Or you can do this and you use 1 point to make his jump in 80 instead of wasting 2 points there. And that way, you want to pump up any other ability that you personally prefer. But I have not made a decision to finalize his training though. I think the best version I used is the first version I posted on Twitter. That was it. And then Leva and Spooky's version, because these guys already used them a lot, they're slightly different from my original version. One of them is less physicality, more dribbling. The other one is more speed, less dribbling. But for now, I think I'm just gonna, for today, we're gonna try some like this. I want to try him with no physical contact or jump, and I want to see the difference. Like usually I have him like this. I have him like this usually. I want to give him nothing physically. I want to see how his aerial domination is going to be. Because I'm pretty sure when you give him aerial superiority, he'll be a little bit slightly better winning aerial dominance, a little bit. But then if I give him 85 finishing, dude, I don't want this 75 stamina. It's really tough. It's really tough. Like, I want to make this at least 8, right? 84. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with me. For defenders, it's cool. Like with defenders, I'm cool to have speed more than acceleration. But for players that you run with the ball, like defenders usually intercept, clear the ball, maybe run a couple of meters to make that pass cool. But with players that you dribble with and run with the ball, if your speed is way higher than acceleration, they cannot take weird touches. Like they're not gonna keep the ball when you turn on speed very accurately in the way that you would think they would. I mean, 3 points different, 2.3 point different from speed acceleration. It's not that high, but like I wouldn't go 86 speed, 81 acceleration. That's way too much. I'd rather flip it the other way around, and that's another thing. So I'm gonna go with 84. I'm gonna go with 84 here, and give the rest of it to finishing. And one aerial, 96. This is probably a version I'm gonna try for a couple of games, see how it is. Next one, Cordoba. As I said quickly, dude, he has every single skill that you need for a defender. Defensive skills. What you want to give him low lofted pass. Give him, give him weighted pass or one touch pass. Weighted pass in particular, because you're under pressure. You want to loft that ball as high as possible. A lot of time you're trying to clear the ball elevation goes same height as Roberto Carlos. You're under pressure. You want to kick it as high as possible. You're pressing like 90%. It still goes low. I don't know about that one. If you do know, let me know. So he has every single skill that you need for a defender. I already started giving pinpoint crossing. I'm going to give him low lofted pass, but mainly weighted pass and one touch pass, and you never go wrong with that one. And training him is simple, dude. Look, I've trained him in many different ways. The difference with Cannavaro, actually, Cannavaro can be faster with higher defensive awareness and physical contact. Cannavaro's a destroyer. This guy is an extra front man, which means he's perfect for three at the back, on the side. And he does join attack often, but training him like this, he doesn't join attack as often. I use him in a system in like 4 at the back or 4-4-2. 3 at the back, I use them often. I think he's perfect for that. Extra front man is usually ideal for 3 at the back, in my opinion. So I like to have a small, nimble, fast center back in my bench. Most of the time, good players use Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, Romario. These are fast, nimble, agile strikers. You want to have somebody like him against these guys in a way. Like if I compare him to standard cards, what standard center back card you guys think is effective to be that short, agile, fast center back? And what I mean fast, like being fast and still having decent defensive ability. Maybe Kundu, yeah. Maybe him. I would agree. That's why sometimes when you face Kundu, you have Mbappe, Neymar, Messi, can still give you a hard time. So it's not just particularly about the legends, but we're reviewing the legends. So for me, I always have somebody like him in the bench. If my opponent has freaking Haaland, I wouldn't start him, for instance. In terms of training, dude, obviously, as I said, I think I have a universal video talking about player ability and training. For those of you guys who don't know. If I was playing lone ball counter, I wouldn't give him anything more than this. I think the way I've trained him, I would just keep it like that if I play lone ball counter. You don't need that much speed if you play lone ball counter, in my opinion. More speed is never a problem. I mean, with this current patch, I feel like no matter how deep my defense is, you still get, caught terribly. Kundu and Timber. There you go, guys. If you're looking for an alternative, kind of small, nimble, fast center back who still have a decent... I think both of them, they do decent skills as well. Maybe Timber not, but Kundu has most of the defensive skills. So this is if I was to play lone ball counter, because I still want him to be fast. But if I was to play a quick counter, and if I want to play an aggressive quick counter, for position game, could be all right. For position game, I would give him maybe a little bit of this, maybe a little bit of that. I think he'd be solid for position game. I'd give him a little bit more ball control, dribbling, higher speed, acceleration for position, which hardly anybody plays. It's really counter, lone ball counter. So if I was to train him for a quick counter, I'd make sure these are minimum 80. These close to 90, I mean, I would want them to be 90, but I need to train other abilities. If he's in form, for instance, I think he's unwavering, Usually defensive awareness, defensive engagement, and offensive awareness. If he's in the highest form, is get 3 points anyway. If he's like an orange, it gets 2. So engagement, awareness, when he's in form, it goes 2 points up anyway. I'm purely pumping this up a little bit because of the jump, because you need that jump. So if I was to play quick counter, I would give him that 80-80 speed acceleration. And I think the original way I trained him is fine for quick counter and low ball counter. But we still have till 28th of September to train players and reset them. After that will not be free, will require GP. I'm gonna make the review for Julio Cesar very quick, dude. Short goalkeepers are not ideal in this game. Regardless, I have Casillas with 90 reach and reflex and awareness. Short goalkeepers are just not that effective. In terms of training your goalkeepers, again, first ability is awareness, second reflex, third reach. If he's short, if he's below 190, then you want more reach than reflex. One thing he stood out for me, he's 187 but 83. So he's lighter than Casillas. When I do manual goalkeeping, he's a little bit lighter for me. He concedes goals. I don't even concede with 70 rated goalkeepers. But then he makes certain saves, not even my Schmeichel does. I suppose that's how he is in real life too. Hey man, occasionally we can compare this virtual game to real life. I know I'm holding like a fucking controller, it's not real life. But this game is made on based on real life, is it not? Susan? Yeah, it is made on based on real life. Okay.